What's up, guys? You're watching the Shield Bearer of Faith, doing some math, weighing items. This is not my forte, I'll be honest about it, but this is something I have to factor in when I'm packing for a mission. So part of the dilemma that I have, that I mentioned in a previous video, is how much space based on luggage do I have compared to how much the luggage will weigh. So I've got my wife's scale out here for us to kind of do some demonstration as it would apply to me as I'm packing. And I think this might help you guys as well, because this is actually the first time I've done any of this. And as you can see, this is not even the full extent of the items I'm looking at taking, but this is a pretty good representation of various companies, their items they have to offer, various types of items, so burn gel over here, rather burn tech, burn gel pads as compared to standard trauma dressings, a few different kinds of gauze, a few different kinds of trauma bandages. So let's take a look and see what the differences are in weight, if they're substantially different, because I have to play with this some and make decisions based on how much do items weigh comparing to how much room I have, and then compared to what items have the most value in a place that you will not get more. So let's start off by saying this entire table of items I will not find any more of when I'm in Ukraine. There might be an exception. I may be able to find an ACE bandage, but I don't even recall seeing one of those. With the exception of the ACE bandages, not a single thing on this table was seen by me, and I looked at a standard store in Ukraine. You could not go buy standard gauze like you would at Walmart of any size. So we're gonna have to just tinker around with these items a little bit. We're going to start off by weighing tourniquets. I think this is one of the most simple ways to give you an example here. So we have a Cat Gen 7 tourniquet. Let's get my scale back on. Stand by. Come on. All right, so we're already set up for ounces and pounds. So one Cat Gen 7 tourniquet is going to be 2.8 ounces. Now we're going to do it twice. This is a holdover from weighing drugs anytime I was doing police work. 2.8 ounces. Now let's take a Soft T Gen 5. 3.9 ounces. Do it once more. 3.9. You see the difference that we're dealing with. 2.8, so you're talking an entire ounce less. That may not matter until you're restricted to only 50 pounds, including the weight of whatever bag you're using. So for example, this duffel bag, the bag itself has weight. The suitcase that's in the corner has weight on its own that the airport does not care about, right? So they're gonna factor that into their maximum 50-pound weight capacity on each luggage item. If you exceed that weight, it is very expensive, to the point where it's ridiculous. You'd have been better off getting an entirely other bag checked. Let's compare another one. So this one's a slightly different calculation. So those tourniquets are equal value, and I won't find either of them easily in Ukraine. So that's a pretty neutral example. These are the leading edge of tourniquets. But let's come over here to gauze. So first we're gonna start off by taking a roll of non-sterile, but still very clean, it's still in the packaging, gauze. So a roll of gauze, you can see it's kind of fluffy, it would be soft, multi-use item. That is 0.6 ounces. This gauze we're gonna weigh just for fun. This is not a go-to, it's too little in quantity. This would be a good alternative for gauze, but we'll throw it out there just because. Very light, so 0.3 ounces. One more time as comparison. 0.6 ounces. All right, let's compare that to a compressed gauze, which now would cost you $5 whole to buy, whereas this is approximately 30 cents. Ooh, 1.4 ounces for a single pack. Again, single, one-time use, 1.4 ounces. Now, are they identical? No, this is sterile. That is not. But the weight difference, you're talking about 8 ounces difference per pack. When we're talking about things like gauze, if y'all have ever been to one of my classes, you know gauze is useful. It's one of the most common things you're going to use when you're dealing with trauma. Now let's compare a hemostatic gauze. We got Quick Clot here. 0.9, all right? Yep, it is 0.9. It's talking about 1 ounce roughly. So the Quick Clot gauze weighs less than your compressed gauze by about 5 ounces. However, this is where some of this starts to change in my brain. Quick Clot is very expensive. It's very useful, but it's like $40 per little bitty package. But again, you will use once on one person. But you're going to be more hesitant to use it. That's just the way that is. I know from experience. This stuff is so expensive and so hard to get that no one wants to use it. We skip over it in our brain, and I tend to reserve Quick Clot for the most severe cases. And honestly, I pre-plan it, guys, that I will use it on me or a teammate. That's just the way my brain works. It's too expensive, it's too specialized, so that's what I do. So then the calculation becomes, should I take more of these, even though they are weighing more? Should I take more of these in weight capacity, even though they're heavier? And that's where my answers start to get more complex. I will take all the Quick Clot I have because it's so useful and so rare in country, but I will also try to take a whole bunch of these. You can see the bag already kind of pre-staged. These are also very expensive, and the fact that they are also a sterile gauze comparing to this is a better option. This I can reasonably replace in country with t-shirts cut into strips. This is not sterile. A t-shirt is not sterile. You can do things to keep them cleaner, but I would reasonably be able to replace this with t-shirts. One final one that we will do, trauma bandages. So over here we've got a Gauze bandage, 6 inches in length, or rather in width. We're talking 4.7 ounces. This one is its main side-by-side competitor made by North American Rescue. I like Gauze bandages more. They can do more, but let's see the weight difference. Ooh, 2.6. Let's try that once more. Yeah, that's what I was suspecting. It's not all the way on there. That weight was wrong. That's more realistic. So 3.4 ounces. Back to the Gauze. Okay, so you're talking more than an ounce additional weight. What if we compare to this? Just a 6-inch wide ace bandage. 2.4. So this is going to be more comparable to the North American Rescue trauma bandage, but it's still much heavier. You're still talking an ounce more. Comparing to the Gauze bandage, guys, I'm talking 2 ounces more. That means I could take 2 of these, based on weight anyway, not based on space consumption, 2 of these for every one of those. Are they identical? No, they are not. But this is the game we're playing. What to take when you can't take everything. Tourniquets are a priority. I've already had a request that I might talk about in a separate video for medical supplies. So some of what you see here will likely be given away on arrival. However, most of these items I'm intending to use either for training or for actual response, God forbid it's ever needed. So I hope that helps in some way. These are just examples. There are so many variations of medical supplies out there. I know there's a lot of just random numbers thrown in on this video, but hopefully you found this somewhat informative because most people will not have access to this table of stuff. And this is a pretty good expression, I guess, of what is out there in several categories. I think some of these items for most people in the US are just needs, you know, they should have them. Tourniquets are an obvious example. But when you're having to go on an airplane to a foreign place and you're having to play with luggage amounts and take things that matter and try to balance it with what you need comparing to what you want, it's an interesting game to play. I hope that helps. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Have a fantastic day and we'll see you later.